What is going on, everybody? Been a diehard Pistons fan since 2003 and starting to get very optimistic about this Pistons team. The Detroit Pistons are playing great basketball right now as they advance to 17 and 18 on the year with a win over the Minnesota Timberwolves by a score of 119 to 105. In this video, we're going to go through, highlight three players that I think played exceptionally well tonight, despite there being more than three that I feel like did. And then we're just going to talk about the game in general because I felt like this was really one of the games of the year. I think that when we look back on this season, this will be one of the hallmark wins. So first guy that we have to shout out, of course, it's Cade Cunningham. He goes in there and scores 40 points on 15 of 29 shooting, over 50%. 4 of 8 from the three-point line, exactly 50%. 6 of 7 from the free throw line. Just great scoring. But you know with Cade, that's not all you're getting because you're going to get 6 boards and 9 assists as well. Only 3 turnovers. That's nothing for someone who has 40 points and 9 assists. All in all, an amazing game for Cade tonight. And I'll go as far to say, I think he was the best player on the floor tonight. So absolutely awesome game for Cade. Of course, I'm referencing Anthony Edwards, who had 50 plus himself, but we'll talk more about that once we get through these other 2 players for the Pistons that I want to highlight. And the next one is going to be Assar Thompson. Assar Thompson finishes the game with 10 points, 5 of 5 from the floor. I'm pretty certain all 5 of those were dunks, one which was from an absolute beautiful play from Cade, throwing it off the backboard to him. That has to make ESPN SportsCenter top 10. I think they still do that, but yeah, that needs to be in there. Just a great game from Assar. The scoring, not even the important part, because he had 10 rebounds, 3 of which were offensive, which felt like momentum shifting offensive rebounds where we were able to execute. And then also 6 steals, many of which led to wide open transition free buckets for the Pistons. So just a super impressive game for Assar Thompson as he does make, I believe, his first start of the year. He ended up starting in the spot where Wendell Moore was last game. So not sure if that's his first start, but I believe it is. And the third player is going to be Malik Beasley. He finishes with 23 points off of the bench. I said in my pregame video, just wanted to see Malik Beasley show up and do exactly what he does despite being 1 of 10 from 3 last night. And he came in and did just that. Had no problem putting up 14 threes tonight. He made 6 of them. Pretty efficient. 23 points on 17 shots. We'll take that all day long, especially when you're getting 3 steals to go along with it. A great game for Malik Beasley. But there's so many guys I could have highlighted this game. Last night against the Hornets, I struggled to pick 1 or 2 to highlight. And tonight, I easily could have picked Tobias or Ron Holland, who had a great fourth quarter. There was plenty of guys. Everybody on the team I felt like played well tonight. I could just read off the entire lineup, but what good does that do? So all in all, a really good game, especially as the Minnesota Timberwolves were going off just because of Anthony Edwards. Anthony Edwards himself finishes the game with 53 points, which is a Little Caesars arena record and a career high for Anthony Edwards. But the biggest thing to take away from that is when he was getting that 53, Cade was matching him bucket for bucket for the majority of the time. Sure, Cade finishes with 13 less points, but he had 7 or 8 more assists than Ant did. So I really felt like Cade played the better game. He was super hot from 3, but the Pistons found ways to show different looks at him, throw doubles, all types of stuff, and they were never really within serious striking distance of this game. The Pistons were up by 5 points after the first quarter, built on that lead, were up by 12-13 at halftime, and it just kind of stayed that way the entire time. Because even though Anthony Edwards was having a big game, Cade was going bucket for bucket. The Pistons were getting steals, stops, and everything in between. And they just really showed up and played a great game tonight. And then even in the fourth quarter, when it was really kind of crunch time, they did a great job of containing Ant, making sure they were getting the ball out of his hands. Anthony Edwards tied his own career high and the Little Caesars Arena record at 51 with, I think, 7 or 8 minutes left to go in the game. And he didn't get those last 2 points to get himself the official record and career high until there was 29 seconds left in the game and the score was already settled and the Pistons were playing no type of defense. So super impressed with this win. It's really crazy. I just am a bit stunned myself. I had high expectations for this Pistons team coming into this year. And by high, I mean high relative to what the media was saying, what a lot of the people in the comments section were saying. The realistic goal was somewhere around 30 to 35 wins on a super, super high end. And right now they're on pace for 40 wins and playing very, very good basketball. They have gone out on the West Coast, beat some serious teams out there like the Suns and Lakers, and now they're back home and they're beating serious teams like the Minnesota Timberwolves, who are fully healthy with all of their main rotation players able to play and healthy tonight. So I'm just super, super impressed and having an absolute blast watching Pistons basketball at the moment. All of this without Jaden Ivey is also very impressive. I think that it's really important to highlight that Marcus Sasser, again, didn't put a bunch of points on the board, but he has been filling in, stepping up, playing a few more minutes, and can appreciate that because when Ivey went down, that did feel like a punch to the gut, but they've been able to come back and win 2 straight games since then. So the Pistons have won 3 games in a row again, which they just did for the first time in over 900 days over the West Coast trip that happened right around Christmas. So that leaves the Pistons with, I think, 6 of their last 7 games being wins, and they're playing some of the best basketball in the entire NBA right now. Am I going to go as far to say that they're playing basketball that I think can be maintained and sustained all the way to the NBA Finals? Not quite yet, but what I do know is right now, as of today, I feel good about the Pistons suiting up and playing against anybody. This Minnesota Timberwolves team, not anything to scoff at whatsoever. Ant had a big night, and they were still able to be in control of this game for the majority of it. And that was even with the refs kind of being a bit annoying, too. I'm not going to go nearly as far as I did last night, talking about how bad I thought the officiating was, but put it this way, the Pistons were out of challenges, as were the Timberwolves, in the second quarter. So everything that happened in the second half that might have been questionable, it was settled and done. So was not the best game from that perspective, but nowhere near as bad as last night. And I said when I was watching it, the Pistons need to make sure that they don't have any outside influence from the refs in this outcome of this game. In order to do that, they need to make sure that they have a cushion. And they were able to do exactly that because the Timberwolves are really never able to cut this lead down from more than 10, 12 points in the second half. So all in all, an absolutely amazing win for the Pistons. Just super, super excited for this team. Super proud of all the players on this roster. And it's fun to be a Pistons fan again. I'll catch you with y'all soon.